What up, A2HH interviews. Mike D over here, Coop to the side of me, and we have our wonderful guest, Mr. NickLove. How you doing, sir?
I'm excellent, man. Appreciate y'all having me. Thank y'all. Long stretch.
Right.
Over there. I didn't mean to turn y'all thing into drink champs by accident.
No, we are
It's
chilling.
all good.
I
It's all
never
good.
like to show up to nothing empty-handed, so you know I brought a gift.
Well, cheers.
We're
Cheers.
not gonna tell y'all what it is because
Right.
they gotta pay us for that. So,
Exactly.
Cheers to y'all.
Cheers.
And we're gonna have a good
All
interview, and we're
together.
gonna say something that's beneficial to people. You know, they're gonna get something out of it.
Okay.
Well, you have a lot of knowledge to put forth.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, I guess we could start this whole thing off, man. Like,
Yeah.
Coop, you want to start off? Go ahead.
He's drinking.
I do want to start off because
go ahead,
I was doing, I like to do my homework.
Okay.
I was reading that you actually used to sing and rap yourself. Was that your
I
foray?
did. Yeah.
into?
Since I was a kid.
Right.
It's funny. I was just talking to some friends of mine. I went up to New York for the Jay-Z museum, which is super dope for anybody who hasn't seen it yet, right?
It's actually pretty good.
I'm telling my guys, I'm like, we was just asking each other, like, how did you get introduced into like hip hop and music or whatnot? And so my older brother, I have an older brother that's 10 years older than me.
Okay.
And he was super hip. He was the one that was into everything really, really early. So that's how I was introduced to hip hop, through my older brother. He was the LL Cool J, Special Ed, EPMD, KRS-One, Big Daddy Kane. Like that was his thing. So, from just watching my older brother, because he was rapping at one point, I was like, I just want to be like my brother. So yeah, I used to rap, sing, do it all, man. Like BBD, when they came out, I was like, oh yeah, I want to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
and then
definitely.
when like Nate Dogg came along, I was like, oh shit, you can sing and curse? I definitely want to do that. You know what I'm saying? So it just, the artist thing was just in my blood, and I just kind of had a natural talent for it. My dad had some musical, had a musical background as well, so I think I just picked it up somewhere and it just ran with it.
Okay. Mike?
Well, I was going to ask which one that you like more, singing or rapping. But I know that was kind of a follow-up Coop had, too.
The singing got the girls.
Right.
Right.
The girls like the singing.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
so when I was in high school, I remember doing like the Valentine's Day little singing telegram things I used to do. So they like somebody would order one, pay like $5, and they would send us to the class to sing to the girls. So it'd be me and a couple other guys. We singing Jodeci and Drew Hill records and whatnot. So the singing got the girls. The rapping was more for the guys. That was just to kind of puff your chest out and be like, I can do this just as well, if not better than you. So I liked the competitive nature of the rapping, but I liked the attention of the singing. That was definitely more my forte.
Well, with that being said, how did you kind of end up delving more into the rap side of things?
I mean, on the marketing side, it was just kind of by accident, right? So I'm rapping and singing. A homeboy of mine I went to high school with goes by the name of Nasty. Nasty actually produced Corporate Thuggin' for Jeezy and USDA. I ended up managing him, later on. But we went to high school together. I got voted most talented for our senior superlatives, right? So
What high school?
Stevenson. I'm from the East Side.
yeah,
I'm
you
a
from the East
DeKalb
Side.
County kid.
East side.
Yeah.
I went to Redan.
Hey, so I went to Redan 9th and 10th.
Okay.
So when they built Stevenson, they moved us and
moved.
made us go to Stevenson.
Correct.
We
Yeah.
didn't want to go.
I left right when that transition happened.
There you go.
Right.
There you go. So 12th grade, I get most talented. So I'm in the picture posing for the yearbook photo, and I got like a piano in front of me. Mind you, I don't play the piano, but it's just one of the props they gave us, right? So my man Nasty is like, this is a year later. I run into him, and he's like, man, I kind of feel a way about, you winning most talented. I'm like, well, but why? I'm the most talented person in the school. It was obvious. Everybody knew that. He was like, man, I play the piano. I play the drums. I said, who knew that? He was like, yeah, man, I just, I didn't think it was cool, so I never told nobody. But he played at church. I mean, he's a classically trained musician. Super dope. And we ended up clicking up. He was rapping and producing. I was singing. His homeboys was rapping. And I was like, bet, I'll be Nate Dogg to this crew of rappers. We just gonna rock. And that's kind of how my musical journey of like trying to be a real artist and actively pursuing it started. The marketing came from when we were actually done with our project. We went to a guy by the name of Jason McPhee. He worked at the studio that we worked out of. Jason was our consultant. We paid him like a stack to consult us on what to do with the project. And so he says, all right, cool. Who's gonna go talk to the DJs? Who's gonna get y'all interviews? Who's gonna book y'all shows? He's looking at us, and we like, we don't know. We just thought we was gonna make music and be famous. We had no idea we had to do anything else besides make the music.
Right.
And so Jason is like, no, somebody got to do something.
Right.
So he just starts handing out jobs. He lands on me and it's like, yo, you kind of personable. You know how to talk, and you're gonna be the marketing guy. And I'm like, all right, I don't even know what that is at the time. And once I started doing it, I loved it, and I never looked back. I never even thought about doing music no more because once I got into the marketing thing, it allowed me to be creative. It allowed me to move around, meet people, go to the art, be with the artists, be with the producers, be at the parties, be at all the events. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, and it just stuck.
So what was your first major, marketing gig in the music industry outside of what you were doing for yourself?
The first major one was Jeezy. That's how everybody knew me. Mm-hmm. So before that, I started with DTP and Ludacris. That was my very first industry job. They were still Def Jam South at the time actually. Mm-hmm. They had just opened the office off of Peachtree, which is now like a parking deck, but it used to be the Def Jam South building would have been right behind Club Visions when Club Visions was
I remember Visions.
They had an office back there in like a little brick plaza. So I just walked in one day and was like, yeah, I looked up y'all address on I don't know if it was the phone book or I don't even know if it was Google at the time. 'Cause we were talking about the late 90s, early 2000s. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah, I just found y'all address. Y'all looking for somebody? And they was like, you want an intern? Sure, let's do it. And that's literally how I got the job. I walked in the door and they hired me on the spot. And so I did that for a little while. I went on to work with DJ Toomp. This is like after, this had to be 02, 03. This is after trap music. This is when him and Tip is in full stride.
Yeah, trap music just celebrated 20 years yesterday.
Exactly. One of my favorite albums. One of my favorite albums.
Yeah, we can go into that.
3 times. Yeah,
whatever
3
y'all
times.
want to talk about on that end, we got it.
No. We can do that.
Yeah, and so I did Toomp for a while. He was starting his label End Zone. He had a cat named Sugar Sugar that had this song called Do It With No Hands. That was one of my favorite songs at the time. And then from there, I went and I was still kind of doing a little bit for DTP. I was working like Player Circle Records and Bobby V, like Bobby V's first couple of records. And while I was in Macon, working the record, I meet Kinky B, who was Jeezy's partner. I actually meet a whole bunch of guys down in Macon. And it just kind of came full circle a few years later where I ended up working for Jeezy and became the VP of marketing for his label. So this is at the very beginning of the Jeezy run. This is Trap or Die, TM101. This is like the beginning of the
my
Snowman.
favorite stuff. Yeah,
it's one of the biggest
my favorite stuff.
buzzes I've ever seen in the city.
Yeah,
I tell people it's the biggest Atlanta buzz that I've ever seen that
1,000%.
I remember.
It was 1,000%. It was the biggest. It was a lot of serendipity, a lot of hard work, but it was good music. A lot of smart people in the room at the same time. A lot of young, youthful ignorance.
Yeah,
which was great. You know what I'm saying? When you don't know what you don't know.
You ain't scared.
Yeah, when you're
not scared. You're trying everything. So we like, oh, why can't we just plaster Peachtree Street with posters? Why can't we just take over Northside Drive? Oh, we didn't know we couldn't do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So people would drive down Northside Drive and Peachtree, and there's 10,000 snowman posters.
Yep.
And everybody's like, I've never seen
that snowman was
never
iconic.
seen the takeover like that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it was real. The internal team.
Yeah.
We were using one of my mentors, Real, from Real Street Promo at the time. So like he had his team, we had our team. It was just humongous. But like I said, a lot of good people. And it's just, like I said, serendipity, right? We got prime BMF era, Jeezy on the come up. You know what I'm saying? The city,
City's still popping. City's still popping. City's still popping back then. City's still popping back then.
Like everything that could go right was going right at that time for us, and it was just perfect timing.
Right. Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, I know Diddy is one of your bigger influences. So tell me how that came to be and what part of what he does really influences what you've done in this business.
It was just the style and the audacity of it. Diddy, especially early Diddy was, and just early Diddy now. You know what I'm saying? You can see Diddy on Instagram now. He still got that same.
Yeah, got that swag. Yeah,
and I think in music is so subjective. You have to have other intangibles to make people pay attention. And I think in a lot of ways, Puff knew that early on. It wasn't just about how we can make the greatest song in the world. Great songs, I won't say they come and go, but great songs are not impossible to come by. You know what I'm saying? We hear a lot of great records.
We forget a lot of great records.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, what's the other attachment to it? And sometimes it was Puff in the video doing the little thing. It's the extra bottle pop.
We were just talking
about this.
Those little nuances are the things that make you be like, I'll never forget that time.
Yeah.
So tell us this. Mike and I were having the conversation last week on the show about what video really defines Bad Boy. I picked Total and Big with Can't You See.
What defines Bad Boy? One More Chance.
Okay.
And I said that too.
Mike said that too.
I'm tripping. Big Papa.
Big Papa.
The hot tub scene.
The hype village.
When they're in that tub.
Yeah.
And
How You
Living,
Biggie
Biggie Smalls, and they in the tub, the girls around. Misa, you know,
Yeah,
Brother
the
Baby Mama at the
stylist.
time,
It's the
like
stylist,
they're
yeah.
all
Yeah.
in the tub. And he's got the. I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's
Tell
it.
your friends to get with my
Yeah,
friends.
like come on, like
You know-
that is
Okay.
peak Bad Boy to me. Now there are other things, like I said, the One More Chance video I love because every cameo in the
Yeah.
world
Yeah.
is in the video. I love that video.
I think what I said with the swag on it, because we had a discussion. I think that Mace's image is kind of like the Bad Boy image that you think of. And
So what you said? More money, more problems.
nah, I actually said the One More Chance when Total was walking in the door. That's
Yeah, and they
Bad Boy. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
Bad
Oh,
Boy
man.
to me.
Yeah.
Like,
But you know what's funny about that? Because ironically, I was just watching TV. I was at the office maybe 2-3 weeks ago when it came on.
Mm-hmm.
But right after that video came on was JD and Brat's video. The I'm gonna give it.
I love
to
Give It
you.
To You.
I love
The
Give It
to You. It's almost
cameos
the same
was
video,
crazy,
though.
too,
That might
yeah.
be the best.
It's almost the same video, and that's why I'm like, see,
Theirs is kind
Which
of
was
loungy.
first?
Hers is kind of like a
Biggie was first.
I thought Big
Hers
was
is
first,
kind of
yeah.
like a day party, and Big is the night
the night
party.
party at the
house.
Right,
Yeah.
right. It's the
Yeah.
same party as one taking place. during
But
the
that
day.
video, now that we bring it up, to me is why JD gets some of the flack that he got, especially for a while.
Why you
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
like
I
that?
feel like,
Because that was a great record.
and I've
too.
done a 180 on JD, just so y'all know. When JD was, years ago, I looked at JD as like, man, why is dude trying to be Lil Puff?
Mm-hmm.
I never subscribed to that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm born and raised. I'm a Grady baby. I'm from
Yeah.
Decatur. Like, I am diehard Atlanta to my core. And I was one of the kids that was from here that had to endure when all the New Yorkers moved down and was like, y'all niggas country, y'all slow,
Yep.
Yeah.
y'all ain't got this, why that don't stay open till this? You know what I'm saying? Like, I was the one fighting New Yorkers in middle school and high school.
Yeah.
Like, mind you, when I was in school, 2 years ahead of me was Swiss Beats,
Yep.
Lala, all of them went to Redan. These are all
I remember
like, all the
all
New
my
Yorkers,
homies
they
that I
all
grew
went
up
to
with.
school
They went
together.
to school with them. Yep.
Right.
I know.
So like their crew, especially Swiss's crew.
Yeah.
Swiss's crew of New York buddies used to be doing ciphers at the
I
football
remember.
games
I've heard.
in the hallway at school, and they was the main ones. Like, man, y'all Atlanta niggas y'all ain't got this, y'all ain't got that. We used to be bucking at school. This was a regular thing for me. So I always grew up with a chip about this
To
New York
represent.
Atlanta thing.
Yeah.
So watching JD, what I feel like assimilate in a lot of ways at the time.
I felt like that too.
I used to be like,
Really?
why? I used to kind of have like a disdain for it. Like, why you doing that? We ain't got to do that.
Give me another example outside of the "Give It to Me" video that made you feel that
Just
way.
in general,
Or
just the ad
feeling?
libs,
Yeah.
the feel. Like it felt like early JD. Which, funny, as I've gotten older and heard JD kind of tell his side of it, I was like, okay, maybe I was tripping.
You wanted
Maybe I
him to
was
be
young.
more
Yeah.
Atlanta.
Yeah, because he was like, yo, I signed 2 kids from Greenbrier Mall. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, yeah, them 2 kids made me want to really be in this. Crisscross is what made me really be like, I can do this.
Yeah.
Like LL Cool J was how my older brother, that was my older brother's thing. So I've looked at my brother, so I looked at LL like, all right, that's what that looks like. West Coast rap was the thing that was the music that I first learned and like was memorizing the words and repeating when I was 3rd, 4th grade, cussing up a storm. But Crisscross was the one that made me be like, oh, I can be a kid and do this? Cool. I want to do
Bet.
that. But when JD tells the story, he's like, yo, I signed these 2 kids from Greenbrier Mall. We was the first ones from Atlanta to do this, that, and the third. And we but it just didn't feel like if you look at old Crisscross album covers, shows, they're in everything except Brave
Except
shit.
for Brave stuff. Yeah.
They're wearing Yankees jerseys.
You're right.
They're
I've-
wearing
you're right.
Chicago Bulls.
Athletics,
everything.
yeah.
It didn't feel
No, I get
But
you.
like
Yeah.
Atlanta. So when Tip came along and he did the one of my favorite, what my
In the
real
A?
in the A
Yep.
is my
Yeah,
official
Me
Atlanta
too.
song.
I
That's-
agree.
I hate
That's-
Welcome to Atlanta
yeah.
to this day.
Welcome to your
listen,
homie.
I feel the same way you
Yep, he
do.
does.
And I think the reason why I felt that way about JD growing up, and I'm born and raised in Atlanta too,
Right.
it's because of Dungeon.
Yeah.
The Dungeon family really felt like Atlanta to me. And it was
Felt like
like,
Atlanta.
even though I did like the stuff that the Brat JD
I
was
love
putting
Brat.
together.
Brat's one of my favorite rappers
Yeah.
who never gets to do that she should.
Yeah,
I
She's
agree.
amazing.
But I do feel like they were trying to cater to what New York was doing, whereas we had our own thing going on. And
Yeah.
I'm like, why? Like
Outkast came through and they had Braves jerseys and Braves hats on.
Yeah,
I'm
from,
like,
from the
Represent.
oh my
jump,
God.
from the jump, and on the album cover.
From the jump.
Yeah, Southern Playalistic. Andre's in a Braves jersey on
Yeah.
the album artwork.
And then
Yeah.
when Tip came, and Tip was like in
He took-
full
yeah.
in the streets mode.
Yep.
And he does the In the A record, and he's like, "What's all that? Yo, this is
It's
an
an
Atlanta
Atlanta
song." I
song.
said, "Yes, that.
Exactly.
I'm rocking with that."
Well, let's talk trap music then.
Well, real
Go
quick.
ahead.
No,
No,
I
go
got
ahead. Go
one
ahead.
more
Go
question.
ahead.
Back to the JD thing, because I
Right.
think this is just fascinating. Because Well, you're known for the marketing side of things.
Right.
So did you not see the marketing side of it?
I mean, I was a kid when JD was doing that.
Right.
So no, at the time, I didn't.
Okay.
I thought what Criss Cross was able to achieve was amazing. Going on tour with Michael Jackson, selling the records that they sold. I think Brad is one of, like I said, one of the most amazing rappers, period. Not just female rappers. Brad, and in her prime, Brad could go with anybody.
Funkified is one of my favorite albums.
I love Jagged Edge. Jagged Edge, like I said, I managed their studio for like 3 years. So I'm a Jagged Edge diehard, love it all. JD accomplished a lot from this city, home based here.
Social Death Bass All Star.
Yeah, Social Death Bass All Stars is a classic to
That's
me.
the joint
Both of
to me.
them.
Yeah.
The lime green joint and the purple one.
Number two.
I
you
like
got
them
the
both,
three?
but I feel like the 2 is the...
2 is the one. The 2 is the orange one. 3 was the purple one.
Yep. So like I love all of that. Like
Yeah.
like I said, as I've gotten older, heard JD tell his narrative of how he viewed what was happening. I'm like, you know what, JD, you did put on more for Atlanta in a lot of ways that I didn't notice.
Yeah.
Social Death Bass All Stars being the prime example of what he was able to do, right? Because nobody else came through and did that, and he didn't have to do that.
He didn't have to do that.
Because that was a very underground Atlanta thing. You know, so that was Edward J, Bass Tapes, Camp. That was them. JD didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
So I love him for that. But at the time, it just didn't feel
I get
like
you.
the city. But
No, understood.
you know, it is what it is. Shout out to JD though.
No, for real. Yeah, his impact is incredible. But
For sure.
at the time when we were kids, we like, okay, well, this is Atlanta.
Right.
This is kind of a watered down Atlanta.
Yeah.
At least that's what it felt like.
It felt like JD was going with the flow when it came to them, and it felt like Tip, even Goody. I remember.
Goody
Goody's
It was a
very,
birthday
very
bash.
Atlanta.
It had to be a birthday bash or something, but I remember when Fly Away came out
Yeah,
on Goody
man.
Mobb's album. And I remember getting into the
That's still
biggest fight in the
standing.
world on Morris Brown campus with like a bunch of like out of town people and all the Atlanta people was like, if you don't like where I stay, fly away. Like I remember that being like the rallying cry of a huge brawl on the Morris Brown campus. Like that felt like Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? We cool enough. We're enough. We're cool enough. We're hip enough. We're talented enough to stand on our own without having to try to be LA, try to be New York, try to be Miami. We can be whatever. We can be us. And that was what gave me a pride in the city, you know?
Yeah, I felt like that about soul food. Like you said, we're enough. That brings me to trap music.
I was actually about to say.
I feel like, when T.I. was, he dropped I'm Serious. And a lot of people liked I'm Serious. I wasn't huge on it.
I do.
Because
I like I'm Serious.
Because I felt like it was, like you said, it was kind of more of trying to prove to, the East Coast that he could rhyme at that level. He even said that in one of his Source interviews.
Right.
But when he doubled down and, did the In the Streets and all those mixtapes, and then he came out with trap music, I was like, to me, trap music feels like T.I.'s first album for real. Like that's
no argument for me.
Yeah, I think that's the best solo album ever come out of Atlanta.
Wow, I don't agree with that.
Okay,
but it's top 5.
Okay,
it's top 5.
What you got over that?
TM 101 is better than trap music.
Okay, I figured that was the one.
Solo?
That people
Are we
said.
talking about solo?
Really?
Solo.
Hold on. You 101's better than trap music?
Yeah. I'm biased, clearly.
Clearly.
But there's a lot of people that agree with you.
Don't let it be.
Hold on.
There's bias here.
But there's a lot of people that agree with you. It's not a crazy
TM 101
segment.
to me is the second best solo debut album in hip hop.
Okay.
I think Doggy Style is the best debut album for any artist. And then I think it's TM 101. And then I think it's Get Rich or Die Trying.
Okay.
And then I think it's College Dropout. And then I don't know what my number 5 is, but those are definitely my top 4.
Okay.
But I mean, TM1, like I said, I'm biased.
Of
no
course.
shame.
I mean, you were a part of the movie.
Yeah,
you have something to do with it.
Album. As a fan, I love TM101. But trap music, I remember that album coming out, and I remember everything that led up to it. The marketing of it, which is, again, at that point, now I'm paying attention to marketing.
Right.
Which is why
what was
I'm
going
Serious
on when
didn't
that was
work.
coming out?
Well, I'm Serious doesn't work, right? So
Right.
I discovered I'm Serious in a free bin. There was a store off of Rita Ann Road called A to Z.
Yep.
Arlinda Garrett, shouts out to Arlinda. Arlinda used to have a record store on the east side. And she used to have, records and tapes, but she would have a bin. It was like it was free or like 99 cents or something like that. and I remember seeing Tip's CD. It was a sampler in the bin.
Hosted by DJ Mars.
Yep. And the only reason I even knew what it was because the Source had done a review on it. And I remember saying, and it was like this Atlanta guy, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? I've never heard of him. Then I happened to see the CD in the bin. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool, I'll pick it up. And I went home and it was like, oh, he tough. I like this guy. Like, he sound like a real Atlanta, West Side. You know what I'm saying? Like, what I know the city to be, he sound like that. So I loved it. And so I got into I'm Serious Real Tough. Then when In the Street started jumping with Drama,
that was
actually pre-Drama, because Drama wasn't even on the first one too. I remember getting heavy into like country. They actually came to, I was at Georgia State. They came up to Georgia State. They was passing them out. I actually met Tip, met Country, Mac Boney, Doug, all of them on Georgia State campus selling the CDs for like $10. And I was like, damn, you're the guy. Oh shit, okay. You know what I'm saying? So I was super excited to, it wasn't like I was excited to meet them because they weren't like famous at the time, but it was just like, wow, the actual artist, like this wasn't like the street team. Yeah. Tip is on campus with a CD in his hand, like, hey man, you know what I'm saying? $10, you know what I'm saying? Right. Selling our thing, trying to do, I'm like, bet. Pull my $10 out and I watched it. So to be an early fan and just see it and watch it grow and more people find out, Dope Boys in the Trap taking off. Yep. Country had a record called Still Country. That was big. Watching Tip kind of do the freestyles and kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like when he started getting on other people's beats, I was
the freestyles are when I realized he was super nice. It's like when he started like flexing.
Started rap.
Yeah, like he really can rap like high level.
Yeah.
Like we can go tote him around any coast that you want.
And that was brought me back to that Atlanta pride of like we're enough. Right. Our guys, because I've always been a CeeLo Green fan. CeeLo can rap to me. He can
talk about him all the time. Yeah,
to me. You know what I'm saying? Dre can rap to me.
Top tier.
Sci-Hi can rap. You know these guys that are from here.
Yeah. Sci-Hi from the East Side.
Shout out to Sci-Hi, man. That Black History Project is incredible.
Biased to the East Side as well. Yeah. But
well, I'm West Side, but I will give credit where credit's due.
Listen, man. Y'all got Tip.
Sci-Hi is nice.
We got y'all got Sci-Hi is amazing. You know what I'm saying? So when I see these guys that are from the city that can actually hold their own, you know, where if we were doing like all right, cool, we're going to take the starting five from New York, Chicago, LA, Miami. My Atlanta guys can hold up.
Yeah, we can tote around.
Like whoever, who y'all pick our five. My five with Dre, Tip, and whoever else y'all want to give us. Killer Mike.
No, Big Boy. Yeah,
well, actually, my five can hang.
Well, that was one of my questions that I actually have is who is your five? So since we're
my
already
five?
here, your five.
Okay, so it's gonna be Dre, CeeLo, Tip.
Yep.
Off the rip.
Yep. That's easy.
Well, hold on. Five and what? We talking about lyrically, or are we talking about just
I want to talk
five best artists?
Overall MC. Overall MC.
If you taking five,
I'm taking five
MCs.
Taking five MCs.
We going to like a cypher?
Not even a cypher. Let's say we got to tote it around and have like a talent show by coast.
Okay.
Or by city. And like Atlanta's repping, DC's repping, Detroit, Philly.
Like I said, if we going lyrically or bar for bar, I'm going Dre, CeeLo, Tip, Sci-Hi, probably Mike. Probably Killer Mike.
Over Big Boy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm one of the ones that probably gives Big Boy the hardest time. Luda too.
We give Luda a hard time.
And it's not intentional because I'm a fan of both.
It's not. I know.
I think they get kind of left out for reasons that I can't really pinpoint, but there's a reason. You know what I'm saying? And it's like,
is it something intangible going on? You feel like with those artists?
Very much so.
Yes.
I think there's an intangible there that I think if you ask anybody, it's undisputable that Ludacris can rap. We all know that. Like he sold a shit ton of records.
Yeah.
Lyrically, he can hold up. For whatever reason, we never stick him in.
I think it's subject matter with him. I think he doesn't connect with some of his core songs because his core songs don't have like
I agree.
Timeless themes. Mike and I talk about timeless themes on here. Yeah. Like Thug Motivation 101 is timeless to some people. Trap music is timeless. It's coming from a place.
It comes from a place. Luda's records seem very surface.
Yeah.
You know how to make a hit. You know how to make a hit.
He can make but it doesn't.
It comes from radio.
It's like, man, this record
I felt
got
that
me through
shit.
my day.
Yep.
This record was what I was listening to on the train going to work.
That's fair.
Going to school. Like, it's just like, man, I love that record. It's great. Come on the club. You just like, but you don't have a connection to it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
And Atlanta has a lot of those. There's a lot of hit records that came out of this city.
Oh, tons.
That are not.
And with you putting CeeLo in there, I mean, CeeLo connects. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Get Up, Get Out. And I actually wrote an article a while back that CeeLo's the most underrated Southern MC of all time.
I agree.
CeeLo
a lot of
reposted
people
it.
don't even. Oh yeah, he did. Yeah,
CeeLo reposted it.
I wanted to ask you though. You talk about connecting. You talk about MCs in Atlanta, East Side. What do you think about like Earth Gang and JID?
I love both of them.
Earth Gang South Side, aren't there? There's one from the South Side, one from the East Side. I feel like.
Jid from the East Side.
Yep,
Okay.
another one.
I don't know where the Earth Gang guys are from specifically. But,
Okay.
Jid, he from the East Side. He's actually a homeboy of mine, Carl. Carl's younger brother is Jid. So I've known.
Okay.
Can he get in the 5? I mean,
Yeah. He can't get in the. I mean,
What you think
today he can't get in the 5 because my 5 is.
yeah,
He's alternate. He on the bench.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
We can sub him in.
We
for
get
sure.
Cool Breeze.
Nah,
No.
I'm gonna give you. I think B.O.B.
B.O.B.'s
Ooh.
very
is on my
talented.
bench.
Very underrated.
Incredibly talented.
Very
think,
underrated.
Rest in peace to my little brother, but Dope Boy Ra. When Capone, Prime Capone, Prime Ra could rap with anybody in the city. I think.
I just saw you say that online.
Yeah,
too.
like, no,
you
like,
just said that.
Shawty
Like, so
was-
you mean that because you
No,
just
I'm
said that.
wholeheartedly mean that.
No, I know because you just said it online.
I've said that multiple times when before he passed. Like he's one of the most talented people I've ever been around. Period. Can rap, write, produce everything with anybody, and anybody who hears him is like, yeah, Shawty, he go. But I would say B.O.B. for sure is on there. GID is there. I think Dro.
Oh yeah,
there.
Dro is
Oh
underrated.
yeah,
Dro is
Dro
nice.
is underrated.
Dro is nice.
Dro is there for sure.
Yeah, his verse
What about
on We
Thug?
Be in
What
the
about
City,
Future?
crazy.
If we talking hits, yeah. If we talking lyrics, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
put.
No.
I don't hold Future and Thug in my top lyrical
Okay.
guys. But if we going hit for hit, Future's in my top 5 hit for hit.
Yeah, Future's hard to beat.
Future's hard to beat. He gonna give it. When he do a
Because he got
versus
so
with
many
anybody or something
bangers.
like that, he give
So
you
many
a
bangers.
long
It's a lot of
night.
bangers.
Yeah.
You have a long night against Future. I think Future beats most people.
Beat Ross.
Yeah, I think he beats Ross.
Ooh.
I think he beats Ross.
That's
I think
heavy.
there's only a handful of people that can actually beat Future in a hit for hit versus. Now, can you out rap him? Yeah, for sure.
Can you outbang him?
Man, I was
Tough.
I was catching all kind of heat when I said the Future would beat Drake in the verses. And I believe that. Maybe I'm just, what I'm saying, Atlanta bias in that way.
It is an Atlanta bias, and it also depends where that takes place.
Exactly. And it depends on what records you play too. Now,
sure.
Drake got a lot of records.
Drake can't play Future records though. That's the thing. If they were to do that, Drake can't play the Future
Drake
records.
got records though, bro. Like Drake is one of my favorite rappers, and I catch flack all the time about that. But I'm
Nah,
like, bro,
Well,
music
you
is-
sing and you rap starting off, so it kind of
hard-
makes sense.
Yeah, it's hard to compete with, and beyond that, like I'm a fan of longevity.
Yeah.
No matter how you got there. Now, mind you, I'm a diehard Pac fan.
Me too.
Tupac to the core.
Me
We
too.
are too.
Yeah, we're hardcore.
And so, but I'm also like not a conspiracy theorist, but I'm always a person that's thinking. I love doing the what ifs, right? Of like, well, if this person was alive, or if this person, woo. And I think when you cut people short early on, they don't get to fumble in a lot of ways, right? So think about this: you kill Lil Wayne right after Carter 3. Everybody says Lil Wayne is the greatest thing that ever happened to hip hop.
Yeah.
Because at that point, Wayne was doing this. The dedication CDs are coming out. He's murking freestyles.
pretty big.
That album comes out, does the numbers that it does. If Wayne dies a week later, everybody's like, oh my God, he is God's gift to rap.
Well, that's what younger people think about Biggie.
I was just about to say
Well,
that.
yeah.
And we've had
Same
that
thing.
conversation
So-
on our show.
But the reason I give the crown to Jay is longevity. Jay has had to live through the eras of hip hop as music has changed, and he's been able to sustain and be who he is throughout. I always wonder what happens when Biggie has to do the Down South record with Future.
well, hold on.
Auto tune. Everybody's like, "Oh man, what the fuck, Biggie? He trying to."
No,
Jay had to go through. Jay had to sift through the crunk era, the snap era, every era that Atlanta ushered in.
Correct.
Jay had to sit there and be Jay through all of that.
I came to this show
So,
with your same sentiments
hold
until
on.
Nas went on this run. And
Hold on.
what Nas is doing right now, he's ahead of Jay, in my opinion.
Nas bores me though, so y'all can't tell me about Nas.
That's
Okay.
what Mike used to say when we used to argue about it, because he used to be a Jay guy too. But before we even
I
touch the
still am.
Nas thing, I actually want to touch the Big thing though. I think with Big, it's because like for me, you know how you play the what if game?
Right.
My what if with Jay always is, well, that doesn't happen if Big is here, because Big does everything that Jay does, except for he does it better.
I
what do you
Jay
say to that?
figured it out.
I think the only thing I think Jay is better lyrically than Big, just bar for bar, lyrically speaking. Like Jay came in the game saying stuff like "nigga, please," like short sleeves, I bear arms.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Big talk game's not like that on Ready to Die. So I think Jay is lyrically better, but everything else is Big to me. Voice, delivery, flow, storytelling.
I think Big is the better lyricist. I think Jay, it's the intangibles, like you mentioned earlier. It's the other shit. You know, like Jay.
He's got an aura.
Jay has an aura about him, and especially like Blueprint and Beyond Jay is like, nah, dude, different. You know what I'm saying? Like there's something about him.
He moved different. He
moves differently. He thinks differently. The bars are clever. I think Biggie's delivery was hell. I loved it. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm also not a Ready to Die fan. I'm a Life After Death fan. I
think they're comparable.
So I think they're comparable. I'm gonna give you all my hip hop hot takes. I hate Illmatic. I hate Reasonable Doubt. I hate Ready to Die. Like I don't like any of those albums.
Really?
No,
Why
pause.
exactly?
You know what? You're gonna have to explain
the one New York album that I love is like Enter the 36 Chambers. Like I love that.
We all
album.
love that.
We all. That's everybody.
I love that album. But as an Atlanta kid, I shouldn't like that.
Everybody
album.
likes
I love
no,
that
no, no.
album.
Everybody
I got
fucks with
picked on
Wu-Tang.
for that,
Love
too.
that album.
No, everybody fucks with Wu-Tang.
But Reasonable Doubt I didn't love. I love a few records, but I don't love it as a project. Illmatic I don't care about at all.
Was it relatability?
Yeah, I mean, mind you, I'm young. You know what I'm saying? I'm 15, 16 or whatever when it comes out. From Atlanta, so none of the themes are really hitting me in that way, other than like the slick wordplay of the production, right? So like Dead Presidents I love, Imaginary Players I love. It's certain records that I fuck with. Ain't No Nigga was cool, you know, but I don't love Reasonable Doubt. Ready to Die was very like grimy to me. But the remixes I loved. I love One More Chance. The remix. Yeah. I love, you know, like a lot of the more mainstream records.
The Big Papa remix was pretty smooth too.
Juicy. I loved, but those album cuts don't do anything for me.
Because you can't relate.
They do nothing for me.
Is it the sonics? Is it the beats?
All of that.
Yeah.
All of that. I mean, you know, like I'm from Atlanta. I want to hear bass. I want to hear. I want to hear. I want to dance to it. I want to. And those early New York records were very lyrical. The content was real heavy.
Yeah.
And that wasn't my bag at the time. Now I'm listening, which is why I love a Sci-Hi, I love a Freddie Gibbs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I love
But when
Gibbs.
you go back to those albums as an adult, like, you know, do
Imaginary
they sound
Players is
better?
amazing. Yeah.
That might be my
As an
favorite J
adult,
record.
Imaginary Players is slick.
Yeah.
Like he talking cash.
That's
shit.
conversational,
So hold on.
Jay.
So I was telling people that when I heard Imaginary Players, he was talking about shit that I didn't understand until I was older. Like, like when he was saying, if there ain't no manicures on board, then switch your planes. I'm like, you can get a manicure on a plane, nigga?
Hey, man.
That was
Jay
crazy.
Crazy on
That's
that record.
crazy talk.
I didn't get into Jay for real until volume
That's 97
2 or 3, you know, and then I went back and listened to Reasonable Doubt, like, yo, this nigga's killing it.
Yeah.
And now, right now, I would say Reasonable Doubt's my favorite Jay album, or it's his best album. But when it hit at the time, like you said, it was too young, kind of went over my head.
Prior to Blueprint, I'm a casual Jay listener, right? I'm like, I've heard the Hard Knock Life, I've heard the records. Blueprint was the one that stuck with me. I think it might have just been timing. At that time, it was one of the last jobs I had before I was fully in the music industry. I was working at this factory right over here off Jimmy Carter. And I remember, we used to work the night shift. So we used to run these machines. And if you got the machine going and you was lucky, that thing would run your whole shift. So you could start the machine and just kick back for 8 hours and just kick it. So we just have headphones on, just listening to music for the most time. And Blueprint dropped. And I remember having the little Discman. A burnt version. It was a bootleg copy of Blueprint, and I remember sending the job like, "This is the most amazing shit I've ever heard." Kanye's production, Jay's lyrics, and I'm just like, "Yeah, he's the greatest." Like overnight, I literally, like that was like Jay-Z is the one.
What song made that click for you, or is it just like an overall feel of the album that made you?
The entire feel of the album, but I think "Girls, Girls, Girls," the way he was flipping it from verse to verse and he was just naming the type of girls he'd have. I thought that was real slick.
Mike think he wrote that.
Really?
Yeah, Mike thinks he wrote that.
The way that song is structured, for him to come off the top, it's like, that's incredible.
I think he actually didn't write it. I think it's one of his greater feats, actually, that nobody talks about.
That shit is amazing.
It
but
is.
Lyrical exercise.
That's my shit.
People love lyrical exercise.
That's my shit.
And
well, I
like,
say you don't know it's his best.
I spar in the graveyard.
We don't
struggle with undeveloped muscles.
Like, hey, man,
y'all ain't real. That's y'all Achilles heel.
I said, yo, he tripping on this.
No, he spazzed on that. Yeah, I can't even front. That was a moment for me where I realized,
And from then on, I was like, Jay.
I think that You Don't Know is his best song, period. I think that Heart of the City is a top 3 Jay song.
Amazing. Yeah.
See, What You Eat Don't Make Me Shit is the best line on the whole album to me.
Yeah.
You little fuck, I got money stacks bigger than you. And even though I love Prodigy, I'm a big Prodigy
Mobb Deep fan. I wasn't a Mobb Deep fan either, so when he's talking shit to them, I was like, great. You know what I'm saying? I'm all with it.
Right.
I was a big Nas, I'm like, yes.
I was a big Prodigy fan. I'm a big Prodigy fan. I'm a big Nas fan, but the you little fuck, I got money stacks bigger than you. I was like, that's just ruthless. I was like, you can't do nothing about that.
Yeah, no, he was talking
crazy.
Little broing.
But I think his best 3 records are Imaginary Player. I'm with you on Imaginary Player.
It's top 5 to me too.
Dead Presidents and You Don't Know are probably the 3 best. But I'm with you. Lyrical Exercise was the record where I was like, okay, this nigga different, like real different.
Yeah.
Well, since it was the way he was even breathing on the track. I was like, you know how hard it is to even like breathe on the track like that and kind of do it rhythmically. It's like, oh no, I was like, okay, he's super nice.
Cool.
Well, since we talk about the OGs, there's been a conversation out there in the, I guess, in the Twitter sphere or social media universe where they're talking about some of the OGs in hip hop are outselling, arenas or out here outselling arenas and selling out arenas.
They should.
Whereas some of the younger cats are canceling their shows. Is that something that people are blowing out of proportion, or is that something really to that?
Yes and no. So there is truth that the younger guys are canceling shows, but they're canceling 1 or 2 shows, 3 or 4 shows out of 30. You know what I'm saying? So people are like, so-and-so had to cancel a show, and that gets blown up like, these young rappers, they don't know what they're doing. They're selling. It's like, but there were 30 of them. He canceled 4. There are 26 other cities where he sold out, or 26 other cities where it's near capacity. So if you're going to only harp on the 4, it sounds crazy because that's the only thing that you're telling people. Look at these guys, and I don't know where that narrative is coming from because it feels very malicious.
It is.
And I don't know if it's malicious toward that individual artist or toward hip hop in general. But again, like I said, if somebody got 30 dates and they cancel 4, to shit on them for the 4 they canceled is kind of crazy.
Well, not to interrupt you, but Mike has brought up how he felt like the Baby's last project, like the numbers on it weren't proper, and he's one of those people that has gotten that vitriol.
Well, I was finna get there too, right? So that's why I say yes and no. No, from the standpoint of they're only canceling, 10% of their shows. The other 90% are fully booked and they're ready to rock. But my man Ray Daniels, shouts out to my brother. One of the things that he always says, or I won't say always says, but something he said recently on his podcast, Ray said that there's a problem. The older artists think that they're only selling talent, so they're lacking the connection to and the lifestyle portion of what it is, right, to attach to the fans. The younger kids think they're only selling lifestyle, and so they're saying, "Fuck the record. It don't make no difference."
Right.
I'm basically an influencer with my music as a soundtrack to my influencer campaign.
Yep.
And that's what's missing. So who's selling out tours? The last few guys that did both, that had 50 Cent, who had great music, and was able to connect to you on that Get Rich or Die Trying campaign.
It's the best campaign ever, maybe.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Whether you were in the streets or not, whether you were from New York or not,
it's
you
the best
saw
campaign.
that and you bought into what was happening, and you were like, wow, I want to get shot 9 times too. Because it just feels, you know what I'm saying? That's why TM 101 works. That's why trap music works.
The Machine.
That's why Jay works. That's why Eminem still works. All these older artists that were stars in their peak, they were stars not just because they could rap.
Right.
They had something that
they connected.
Wu-Tang still sells shows. People are connected to Wu-Tang. You know what I'm saying? In a way that I don't think that the kids are connected to their artists. I think the kids like their music. I think the kids like their swag or who they're dating or whatever the case may be, but it's not that same.
Who do you feel like is the last artist that really connected in that way?
I think it depends on where you're from. I think I'm not a Kendrick lover. But I think Kendrick connects to a certain demographic, like really connects. I think J. Cole really connects.
J. Cole does really connect.
J. Cole connects.
But oddly enough, like when I'm in a barbershop and I'm around like younger people and I'm like, yo, Jay is this, or Tip is this, or whatever, and I'm talking about my favorite rappers, I hear a lot of kids be like, Boosie.
Yeah.
I've heard Boosie.
That. Yeah.
In a way that I did not know.
I hear Future a lot down here.
Well, you know who
Future as well.
I hear Future a lot down here.
Future, I can understand because Future got these big records. Boosie, I'm like, for real?
Yeah.
Well, NBA Youngboy is the one that
NBA
connects. And he does crazy numbers. It's organic. He has a real fan base. Yeah. And so I don't know how to even explain the connectivity, but it's there.
No. So listen.
Of a certain age can explain.
So listen. So check this out. My daughter and I are riding in the car. I'm taking her to school the other day. My daughter's a junior in high school. And she's like, Daddy, you'll never believe it. She was like, most of these guys I go to school with think NBA Youngboy's the greatest rapper ever.
Exactly.
I was like, how? She was like, I don't know, Daddy. I was like, have you ever asked them why? Because she know I do the show. She knows I know my rap shit. I'm like, have you ever asked them why? She was like, every time I ask them, they just say they don't know. They just know that he's the best.
That's connection.
And I'm like, okay. I was like, that means he's connecting like almost on a Tupac type level. It's almost like a Tupac type level.
I was just going to say that. One of my daughters loves him. Thinks he's like, he's Pac. He's
right.
He's her generation.
Right.
Pac. And when I hear the music, I'm like,
huh?
And he don't get no radio play like that.
Well, he doesn't have no Dear Mama, no So Many Tears.
I actually think he might have one. I ain't heard it, but
they got it in them. Something.
They know something that we don't.
Yeah. I think it's there. I just think that we're in the sonics of it, and we hear it, and we like turn that shit off. Like, right. And that's again, well, it is a slight to him. I don't like the music, and I'm one of the music guys that will say I don't like it. One of my biggest things that I'm on personally. I've tweeted about it, and I got a lot of feedback, a lot of phone calls about it because I'm in the music business. And I'm like, yo, it's okay to call some shit whack. And not just for the sake of calling it whack and just talking down on some shit. But I think a lot, like I'm 43 years, I just turned 43. Mm-hmm. A lot of people my age or older will say, I mean, I don't really like it, but maybe it just ain't for me. And that might be the case. There's nothing wrong with saying that. But there's this like, let me put the disclaimer on it before I tell you that I don't like something. Because my age disqualifies me from liking something.
Don't you think that's the world we live in? Don't you think that's the world, though? Like the way it kind of moves now?
I think that's whack because I think our voices are needed.
Okay? Yeah.
I absolutely 1,000% believe that our voices are still needed in the music business. I think the people that are my age, I think the people that are older than me, our voices are still needed. And this is not some manifesto for every record label to go hire a bunch of 50-year-olds. But it's also not a stop hiring the 20-year-olds. I just think that there's a need for balance. I think so many of us that are 30, 35 and older are like, it's a young man's game. So I just got to kind of shut the fuck up and let the kids have it.
We deal with that right here because we're in our 40s now. I'll be 42 next month.
There you go. So we're saying let the kids have it. But then as the kids are having it, we're seeing the errors that the kids are making, right? Like I said, there's whether it's artist development, whether it's not making complete bodies of work, all these things. All of those things could be fixed where if there was an older person in the room saying, hey, guys, back in my day, you know what I'm saying? But everybody's scared to be the back in my day guy, so everybody shuts up and says, I don't want nobody calling me the old guy. But I'm like, yo.
So they just go with the flow.
Right, we go with the flow, and so you end up with whack albums, tours getting canceled, all of the things that we're seeing as older people and looking back and saying, yeah, but y'all could have. Somebody should have fixed it, but somebody was us.
It's funny.
We got to stop being scared to be the old man in the room.
Yeah, hold on. So I want to talk to you about this because I've been one of the old men that have been on this show saying like A&Rs don't exist anymore. And so check this out. I was at the 1 RPM Rap Snack stuff.
Yeah.
I took footage of you the first day at the mixer.
For sure.
I was at the show. I brought one of my artists to the show. And we ran into one of your A&Rs. And he had his shit together and had his digital business card. And she was like, and we had a whole convo. And so we're chilling up on the balcony watching the show, talking with one of your A&Rs. And I came on the show the next day and I was like, Mike, I just saw some real fucking A&R.
I want to say something about that.
I was like, it's real still.
There are still A&Rs who want it, who want to go after it, who want to be early, and who want to still be subjective in what they hear. Now, the business, what I would tell everybody is the business forces, okay, when everybody was going off gut, it was fine. When everybody started going off numbers, the few guys that were left going off their gut, you're taking a way bigger risk, right? You know what I'm saying? Because this guy, A&R A over here, who's going off the analytics and the numbers is saying, hey, I want to sign rapper A. Rapper A has 500,000 followers on Instagram. He's got 2 million monthly listeners on Spotify. He's got a song that's trending upwards. He just got a TikTok sound that went viral. He's got all these analytics. Now, and rapper A is, and A&R A is saying that rapper A, he don't have a hit right now, but look at these numbers. A&R B is saying, I don't know, guys, I just feel it. It's something about him.
Yeah, I can't quantify it.
I don't have no numbers.
Didn't Jeezy have that at one point, though? Because I always feel like that's where Jeezy's buzz comes from. It's not that he was the best lyricist. It wasn't that all this. It's just that he had it.
He had it. There were some numbers, but again, they wasn't. It wasn't
I'm talking
digital.
about early on. I'm talking about the early shows.
But it wasn't digital, so you couldn't necessarily put a number on it.
Right.
But it was just something about going to a Jeezy show early on and being like,
people knew the words.
Yes.
That was there.
That was your.
I was there. You could see the energy.
It was like 700 people in the room, but like 500 of them knew the words. I was like, what the fuck is this?
The data was, I went to a club. There's this guy who doesn't have a record deal. The entire club knows his song.
That's
and
the
then
data.
I went to another city and they did the same thing. And I went to another city. And that was your data.
Yep.
That was actually, because I was already with Jeezy at the time, that's how I discovered Plies. Plies was the same thing happening in Florida. Early Plies was a club full of Florida guys. And I'm like, yo, why are there 1,500 people in this club and all these people know this song that I've never heard in my life? He got something. But the data wasn't digital. And again, everybody was figuring it out at that time. Now, when A&R B comes in and says, I want to sign rapper B over here, I don't have the data. I just feel it.
That'll get you fired. That'll get you fired now.
If it don't work and you have to, again, somebody's looking at the numbers even if you aren't. Somebody's saying, hey, man, like.
Why aren't the numbers where this person's is?
Which sucks.
Yeah.
But that's the game we in. And I'm in favor of playing the game that we're in. I think there are opportunities to buck. I think there are exceptions where you should buck, could buck, would buck. But I am in favor. I'm not a complainer. You know what I'm saying? Like I say this all the time when I do panels. When guys be like, man, all these girls in Atlanta, all they want is a nigga with money. It's like, guess what? Do you like girls? You should go get you some money.
Go get you some money.
Exactly.
Go get you some money.
Go get you some money.
That is the game. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So
no way around it, right?
Instead of complaining about the game and saying, man, I don't like it that all these girls. It's like, all right, cool. You can
move or you can play.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
the obvious way to do this, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I got people really close to me that be like, man, I'm just as influential as this one or that one. Man, all these brands and stuff, all they care about is who got the most followers. I'm like, all right, cool. But if you know that, then you have to go get some followers. I don't know how you necessarily need to go about doing it. I don't know if you want to jump off the deep end and do nothing crazy or no wild antics or nothing.
Yeah.
But if you want to be a brand influencer and you know that the brands care about only people who have 50,000 followers, 100,000 followers, well, in some kind of way, you got to figure that out. You got to go figure that out. Or you can do this.
No, I'll tell you what.
Nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing?
I'll tell you what, just like moment of honesty, like I've told Mike and we share these thoughts when we have this show. It's like, oh, well, our personal following needs to be matching what our following is more. And that's one of the things that we're kind of like working through right now. I talk in here all the time. I was like, no, Mike, we're influencing people, but the numbers need to reflect that we're influencing people.
That you're influential.
Yeah, period. Because if we don't, then what are we doing?
And that sucks. That's
the reality.
That's where we are, but that is where we are.
Yep.
And one thing that I've learned about life is that we ain't going backwards. So all of us that are complaining about how the kids are in their phones, and I wish we could go back to when it was da-da-da-da-da. It's like, hey, let me tell you something.
It's not going to go back.
That ain't happening.
Ain't never going back, bro. Like, if y'all ain't figured out how to sit at the dinner table yet without watching TV, y'all ain't going to figure it out. And that's unfortunate to some, but
it's the world we live in.
That's the world we live in.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't had a dinner where all of us sat down at the table in years. And I got a house full of kids. And me and my girl are on the couch watching TV. They're over there at the table. They're on their phones. And everybody's talking to each other. And it's like, we love each other.
It's the modern family.
But that's
what the family look like today.
Even when I'm like, hey, guys, all right, let's put the phones down. We'll do it. But you can tell everybody's like,
itching.
Like,
right.
Like, how long we got to talk? Okay, cool.
Right.
When
can I get back to my phone?
When can I get back to my phone? And,
well, let me ask you this, though. Speaking of modern things and things changing, like, what does a hit record look like in 2023?
A hit record?
Yeah, because, I mean, we talked about
a hit record is a gold record to me.
Okay.
A hit record is a gold record, which is, 750 million streams? That's a hit record. That's a hit record. To me, is a gold record.
Does it take radio to get there, or is that through something else?
Don't take radio to get there, but let me tell people this. Like, we've all kind of laughed at the demise of radio. Radio's still very much important. And radio still says that, whatever is a hit. NBA Youngboy doesn't get radio play. NBA Youngboy streams well, makes a shit ton of money. I don't think he has a hit. I don't think he's ever had a hit.
Yeah.
So you can be successful and never have a hit. But I think that Put It on the Flow, Lotto and Cardi, was a hit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think All My Life, J. Cole and 21, J. Cole and Lil Durk, that's a hit.
Okay.
There are records that are obvious, clear-cut hit records.
Okay.
Do you think that the artists that are making those records are carrying it to hit status, or do you think that those records are just hits?
I think some of these records are just hits.
Okay.
I think one of the craziest things I've ever heard, well, not crazy, but I think one of the most profound things I ever heard was from DJ Khaled. Ironically, the timing in which he said it couldn't have been more ironic, right? So Khaled, when he was promoting maybe 2 albums ago, I think the big single from that record was it was a Drake record, but it was one of the records that wasn't like a great Drake record. And Khaled says in an interview, man, everybody talking about they got hit records. Everybody hit record this, hit record that. He's like, I ain't heard no hits. He's like, but in the absence of real hits, we'll call anything a hit. And I was like, wow, he's absolutely right. Ironically, he didn't have a hit that he was going to put out. You know what I'm saying? The record he put out was a dud too. But he was right. Yeah. When there are no hit records out there, we just grab at the thing that feels as close as we can get. So it might be a popular record or a popular artist, but we like, yo, we know what hits are. We've been around long enough. We know when something's moving.
Bad and Bougie was a hit.
Bad and Bougie
That's
is a
massive.
Hit.
Yeah. hit record.
Yeah.
No matter where you
play
play
that
it,
when I first heard it.
Me too.
I heard that
from the time
shit,
it come on.
I heard that shit on, I want to say Hip Hop DX. I used to go on there just to check out whatever new songs they had. And I played that and I was like, oh, this is different. And I was already a Migo fan anyway. But this one was different.
By the time he got to Bitch I'm a Dog, woof, I was like, yep, out of here. Go.
Right.
Like, I don't care what the rest of the song is.
The first verse.
That's a hit.
Yeah.
Like, from the time it comes on, I'm like, yeah.
You want to know what?
That's
That's when I realized that they were something. I remember the first time I heard the song, I looked in the back seat, and my daughter and my niece, who were probably like 4 or 5 at the time, they were dancing and knew the words, and I didn't. And I was like, oh, shit. I was like, they on.
For real.
They on. Yeah.
Yeah, we got them early, and this is when I was still running Coalition DJs. And
yep. I want to talk about that.
They came in early. They brought the Versace record. They brought those early records and Hannah Montana, all of that. And to me at the time, I was like, this is cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, they'll catch one. They caught one little record. Versace was the one that was going. Drake jumped on it, and I was like, okay, they got one. And then one day I looked up, and they had Fight Night, and they had like a few other records, and I was like, oh shit, they're not one-hit wonders. At this point, it was like, they're 5-hit wonders. They're 8-hit wonders. Oh shit, these boys got... You look up, you're like, they got 20 records that you like. And then that was before Bad and Bougie. It was like they had a bunch of records that were going. And then when Bad and Bougie came out, I was like, yeah, we gotta stop. We gotta stop saying that. Like, we gotta stop down talking not only their hit making ability, but their
I agree.
How long they were able to sustain, the influence that they had. They're one of the most influential rap groups of all time.
Mike says this all the time. He says this on the show all the time.
Yeah, like that is undeniable.
Yeah.
The influence is there. No, the influence is there. I question sometimes whether the quality is there. I don't question the hit making. I don't question the influence.
I'm with you.
I ain't question the quality, and not the quality of even like some of the records. The album as a whole when you play it.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
Okay.
But that flow, everybody took that flow.
So I feel like, okay, so go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say was, I think where we differ is, and you're right, the album's not there, but I feel like Migos came around during a time where singles were more important than albums.
For sure.
And so is the hip-hop album, or just albums and music, period, in the digital age, is that dead since everything's gone to playlists and the focus is getting on playlists as opposed to making full albums?
Well, you like Freddie Gibbs, so that can't be true.
I love Freddie Gibbs.
Me too. Yeah. Alfredo is one of my favorite albums of the last 5 years.
Alfredo is dope. Soul Separately is dope.
Oh, yeah.
All production on there is crazy.
Bandana, all of them.
Yeah. Yeah. He got a great catalog.
He does. Man. I don't think the album is dead. I just think that, again, kind of like some of what Khaled said. In the absence of good albums, we just albums are dead.
Back up,
until somebody puts out a good one, then we like, that's a great album. You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
Back up, Mike. I just realized something. You done known Freddie from the jump.
I did. Freddie was a CTE.
Right.
Freddie was a Jeezy signee. So
right.
I knew Freddie early. Carbon 15 was the one who brought Freddie in. Jeezy didn't really know what to do with Freddie at the time. It was that blog era. Jeezy was Jeezy. And he couldn't see anything that didn't look like what he was doing. And I remember us trying to explain, like, not even Freddie, we were trying to explain, like, Crit and Current and, like, those guys that were doing this thing that was
doing what
success.
Freddie's doing now, yeah.
And I don't remember Jeezy's exact words, but his sentiment overall was like, yeah, but they're not hitting the metrics that I'm hitting, and not, like, comparing them to himself, but, like, he's saying, this thing that I do, that Tip does, that 2 Chainz does, that Ross does, this thing that we do, that thing over there is that's cool.
It's a little more niche.
Yeah, and so he's like, well, why would we devote time and effort and money to niche when we can devote time and effort and money to playing big boy ball?
It's a business decision.
And you just had to be there. You know, it's one of those things like you got to know to know. You had to be there to understand what Crit is, what Currency is, what Wiz was early on. You know what I'm saying? Like, you had to be in the era, see it moving, be at the shows.
They connect.
See the influence.
Yeah, Wiz connected hard early on.
I love Crit was here is one of my favorite mixtapes ever made. That first Crit. But again, you had to be in the mix. I remember catching Trinidad James early. You had to be there. You had to be in Lil 5 Points. You had to be in, you know what I'm saying, in that era to see Trinidad walk into Drunken Unicorn or the 5 Spot or Masquerade or what's my shit over there on Ponce?
So MJQ?
MJQ. You had to see Trinidad in those spots, L Bar, to understand what Trinidad was as All Gold Everything was growing. When you see it, you're like, hey man,
let's talk.
Y'all got to figure. Y'all should sign this. I may not can tell you why, but you just got to come see it.
I saw that early with Janelle Monáe when she was around the city just performing randomly.
Janelle was special.
Yeah.
She was special around the city early.
She's so beautiful though, and she's been that way too. She's gorgeous. I love Janelle.
We do too.
Of course.
I think we all do. Tell us a little bit about, I want to hear about the Coalition DJs and how that all started and came to be, because I know you were, pretty much the one who put that together.
So since I was young, I've been like a DJ, kind of a DJ groupie to a certain degree, to be honest with you. It's, like, I'm very talented. I've been that way since I was a kid. I can sing, I can rap, I can dance a little bit, I can do everything, but I can never DJ.
Okay.
So I have a special affinity for people that can do something that I can't do. Like, and I can't do it. I've tried. I've had people try to teach me how to DJ.
You respect it more.
And I can do a little something, but I can't do it. So, like, when from Paperboy to Nando, and Nando's like all these guys that I've been around, like, I just am awed when I see them, because it's funny because they can do it, have a conversation with me, eat, smoke a hookah, do everything, and they still be. I'd be like, I just be stunned every time I watch them do it. That shit is the most amazing thing in the world. So, when I was doing the artist thing, trying to get our artist stuff going, DJ Funky was one of the first DJs that I met, like really like met through a homeboy of mine named June Dog, who was one of my early influences. June Dog, and he's a person
the
that I
singer
don't.
June Dog?
Yeah. So
A-Town legend right there.
So
shout out to June Dog.
I don't get June enough flowers when I'm doing these interviews, but it's funny that we talking about it. So June Dog is who really, really made me really want to do the shit. Because June, when I was in high school, June was 2 years older than me, 2-3 years older than me. June was the one singing hooks on a lot of the early Kizzy Rock, DJ Smurf, DJ Taz, Raheem the Dream records.
He's on that Salsa Def.
I remember him on the Taz records.
That
so
bounce
June
around
is
joint.
so if you're a real A-Town person, there's a record from Kizzy Rock that's like a Don't Stop It, Keep Rock. That's June.
Yeah, I have to listen to that on YouTube because it ain't nowhere else.
You can't find it nowhere. There was another Smurf had a record called That Girl.
Oh, like that was my shot.
June is the one singing
that
these
album,
hooks.
man.
So if you're real Atlanta, you know these records. And
That's
June,
old.
we
That's
went to high school.
back.
June went to Redan.
Yeah.
So June, we used to ride the school bus, and June would be singing. Like June was the guy. You know how like you'll see Jamie Foxx singing like silly songs. Like he'll sing like a nursery rhyme.
Yeah.
But he'll sing it.
Yeah, and it sound dope.
June was doing that when we was in high school. He's singing Mary, Mary had a little lamb, but like singing the shit like Brian McKnight. And you like, Oh my fucking God.
Man, I ain't think June Dog was gonna come up in this interview.
Yo, June is that's my
name in
brother.
forever. I ain't heard that name in forever.
Right.
Yeah.
So June introduced me to Funky at Jazzy T's. We at the strip club one night. I meet Funky. End up getting cool with Funky.
This is some straight Atlanta shit.
Yeah, I meet X-Rated next. I meet Big X down the line. Nando was the last one I meet because I meet Nando while we're working Jeezy. Those 4 guys were the original Coalition DJs. We started with 4 guys.
Okay.
I was managing Jagged Edge's studio. They needed office space. They weren't a crew yet. They were just actually it was just Funky and X. They wanted some office space. Jua, which was Jagged Edge's studio, was nothing but office space. It was completely damn empty except for the studio. The guys, they were gonna make it. They had an office for the twins, Kyle and Wingo, but they didn't use the fucking offices, so they were empty. So it was a big ass studio full of offices. I brought them in. And from bringing them in to get some office space, we started talking every day. And I'm like, y'all should form a crew. Like, why? Affiliates got a crew, Legion of Doom, Hitmen, everybody got these crews. Why don't y'all have one? And they were actually coming out of, I think a couple of them were Legion of Doom. I think one of the guys was Hitman at the time. Nando wasn't with anybody. And I'm like, we should figure this out. And through a series of a lot of talks and whatnot, we formed this crew. And they were like, we need a manager because like Hitman had Casper, Legion of Doom. I forgot Ray Hamilton was running Legion of Doom. I think Real had Super Friends. Drama and them had affiliates. Everybody had a crew and a point person. They didn't have a point person. They was like, Nick, you be it. Bet, let's go. And I knew how to find the money because I was moving around a little bit, so I knew where the money was, and it just worked out, man. So we started the crew at Jua. We built it up, started doing New Music Mondays completely on accident. Rocco was our first artist that came in.
Correct.
And it was complete fluke.
Correct.
Rocco came to bring us some money. We were all together. He brought us some money, and he played us some records. And I was like, yo, guys, like, you know what would be cool? Is like every Monday, we should just have the artists come here. That way, I don't have to go. It was trying to save me some gas, really. I was like, we started New Music Monday to save me some gas. I was like, instead of me running to go meet Rocco, meet this one, meet that one, why don't we sit in one place, have them all come here, they can play their records, hand us their money, and then we can go do what we do. And it just so happened that it stuck. And New Music Monday's been running since then, you know what I'm saying? So we have a crew that I started in 2008, and then New Music Monday started in 2012. And 2 of the longest running things in the city were brainchilds of mine. Okay. And Big X too. I never want to show up Big X. Me and Big X created Coalition together.
Okay.
And I make that distinction all the time because part of that is not why I'm not there no more, but it caused rifts.
Well, you get most of the credit around the city. You get most of the credit around the city,
and rightfully so. Let me just say that I fucking deserve all the credit because I put everything into it.
Yeah.
But it was done in tandem with X.
Okay.
I think because X was a DJ that people were like, oh yeah, Coalition DJs, and then Nick.
Right, Nick is handling the business and making the shit pop.
So Nick gets the credit.
Right.
But that thing, you could just tell how somebody's like, hey man, hold on. It was both of us. And I'm like, yo, I didn't tell everybody it was just me. Like I know what it was.
Right.
But when you start seeing that, I'm like, hey man, you tell everybody whatever you want to tell. I'm going to shut up because I don't want it to be a thing between you and I.
Right.
We brothers, and I don't never want the fact that outside people are taking their opinions or their whatever and turning it into what it is. It just got weird. You know what I'm saying? So, and I don't do weird. Anybody who knows me know I'll be like, you know what? Let's just not do this anymore.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You rather just fade.
Before it gets weird,
before
we're in a thing, I'll walk away. I've walked away from some shit that was moving, making shit ton of money, and I've been like, yeah, I don't want to do that no more.
Yeah, like Rick Rubin and Russell.
Yeah, because I'm not a pop off guy. I run around this city by myself. If you see me out, I'm by myself or I got my kids or my girl with me. I don't run with 50 niggas. I don't do that, so I don't pop off. But when I pop off, I've popped off for a reason. You know what I'm saying? So, and usually it's because I've said, all right, cool, you got it. All right, cool. All right, hey.
I ain't gonna keep on saying that.
You got it. Hey, man.
Right.
I told you.
You've had your chance.
You know what? Cool. I'm gonna walk away. Hey, I told you had it, and I walked away. Now we have a problem. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm there, and I try to avoid that. You know what I'm saying? I don't like that energy. It doesn't serve nobody. It becomes a dick measuring contest that I have no interest in in being in. And so, and I've had to do that. I've had to do it with Jeezy. I've had to do it with Kick. I've had to do this over time, and I think some of it is some Leo shit where men just get the, but at the same time, it's about respect for me, and not you gonna respect. It ain't that. It's more like, hey man, I'm gonna respect you, and I'm gonna acknowledge your growth and your elevation and whatever it is. Please acknowledge mine. Yeah. And I'm asking, please acknowledge. You know what I'm saying? Like, even with me and Jeezy, like there was a time where it was, I'm acknowledging that you've become a superstar. I need you to acknowledge that I am no longer a 22-year-old that just showed up in the game. We are now 28, 30, 32, 34. Like, I'm NickLove now. You know what I'm saying? This ain't. So
I'm not baby bro anymore.
Yeah.
So I need that from you. I need you to understand that.
Respect the growth.
Respect my growth as I've respected yours. And if you're gonna little bro me, we can't work.
We can't do it.
You know what I'm saying? And that's happened a time or two with several people. Well, people, and I've done it. I'm guilty of it. You know what I'm saying? You come up with somebody,
all are,
and it's your partner, and you like, I'll never forget this. Beehive. Shouts out to Beehive. Beehive podcast does extremely well. That's my man. Beehive is my buddy. That's Beehive.
Right.
I did his podcast whenever I did it, maybe last year sometime. And I'll never forget, people was like, oh my God, you did Beehive. And I was like,
that's your guy. Right.
Really? Like, you know what I'm saying? Not that I didn't think nothing of it, but I didn't think it was that.
Not to you.
To me. And I had to step back and be like, you know what? I'm being disrespectful of the growth. You know what I'm saying? So if I can acknowledge that I'm disrespectful of the growth, I need you to do the same. I can go back and walk mine back and say, hey man, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Congrats. Yeah. I was tripping. You know what I'm saying? So that's just how I am, man.
Tell people about 1 RPM.
Yep. 1 RPM is a music distro company. We are international. We have offices all over the globe. I work out of the Atlanta office. I came in under Orlando McGee, who gave me an amazing opportunity to come in and do the marketing. I'm the product manager over there, so I handle hip hop, gospel, and R&B. Some of our artists, we got Mano, we got Yellow Wolf, we got Cuban Doll, we got Cujo Goody, we got CeeLo, we have a amazing roster of artists. We got some new artists, like we got ASAP 12, one of my favorite artists. We got this R&B cat named Reggie Beckton, one of my favorite artists. We got a young lady, songwriter, singer named BB. She's out of Compton, California. Is amazing. She wrote a lot of records for a lot of people. Like, we got some dope artists. But it's distro, and it's in the digital age, and it is probably a place that I've learned more than I've ever learned anywhere else before. And it was tough starting, because I come from the street background. I come from being out, shaking hands, kissing babies, you know what I'm saying, going to the radio station, going to the club, doing my thing. This job is very much entering information into an Excel spreadsheet and quantifying numbers, which is why earlier I said, that's the game now, right? You got to know the numbers, you got to know the data, you got to know what chart metrics are saying.
So you've adapted.
I've adapted, which is why I'm like, hey, y'all do too. Y'all got to adapt too. I can't be the only one having to adapt, and then you be like, but I want to play it the old way.
Right. I want to go to the club and find the new artist. It's like, oh, well, they come to you now digitally.
But I tell artists all the time, like, those days of I want to go to Magic City and throw $50,000 as part of my marketing budget, them days is dead.
Yeah, it's over.
Like, that's not, because the labels can't quantify it.
Right.
The companies can't quantify. Okay, cool.
No physical sales.
You threw $50,000 in Magic City.
I think
we got this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't exist. You know what I'm saying? It's unquantifiable. And these companies are very much about, we paid $1 over here, we made $1.05 back. Mm-hmm. It's $1.05, but it's $1.
Yeah, we don't want to make 75 cents. More than what, we don't want to make 75 cents. We don't play those games.
That's the game.
Yep.
So I find that older artists are having a tougher time adapting. Younger artists are cool with it, but again, they only see the lifestyle portion of it. Like I said, a lot of the younger artists are influencers, really, that have just made music to match the influencer side of what they're doing.
The brand's bigger than their music.
Yeah, 100% of the time. Yeah. 100% of the time. Every now and then you catch a Lil Baby, you catch a Gunna, you catch a Lil Uzi. You know what I'm saying? You catch one of those. Those guys are special. Yeah. I don't take nothing away from them. And
Gunna's special.
And let me say this: the narrative that these kids got it easy and all they got to do is sit at the house on their phone and listen, man. No other generation has been asked to make music be a content creator, be a fucking comedian, fucking be a host of a show. All these things to get their careers going.
Yeah,
these kids got to dance, sing, tell jokes, date a girl. You know what I'm saying? Like they got to do all these things. And it's like, yo, that's a lot.
Instead of just making a dope record.
And they don't.
And that's probably the problem. They're like, yo, when was I supposed to make the dope record? I was concentrating on doing.
Right, I was doing all this.
The 50 other things.
We've had that conversation. They don't have time to invest into the quality of music anymore because that's not where their money lies.
No.
And they don't have a BET or MTV to go to either.
Which is the other thing. That's a fight I have with artists often. They want to spend, significant amount of money on videos, and we're like, but why?
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah.
And the
Shoot
answer
it off
is
your phone for free.
Well, yeah, okay. So the answer is inevitably is going to be, I just want to make a quality video. Right. Nothing wrong with that. That is a great answer. The problem is, what does a quality video equate to in 2023, 2024?
It's not 1997.
There's no BET. You know what I'm saying? There's no 106 Park for us to all sit down and watch the top 10 videos. There's no MTV TRL. There's no nothing. We just got YouTube, and everybody's watching on demand whenever they feel like watching.
How about this? There's no reason to go buy the jacuzzi or rent the jacuzzi and get the hot tub and do that scene anymore and pay the money to do that.
Absolutely none. And the worst thing that could happen to these artists, especially on the hip hop side, is a couple of artists doing what Chief Keef did, setting up a fucking camera in the living room. His homeboys is in there with their shirts off and they just jumping around, and that shit worked. When that worked, that was the countdown.
It changed everything. I tell everybody.
When last time you seen a Hype Williams video?
Yeah.
When last time you seen a Benny Boom video? That shit.
Benny Boom do movies now. I seen him down in the A a couple years ago.
Because nobody wants to pay him to do.
Yeah, ain't paying him $6 figures to do one video for 3.5 minutes anymore.
That's the worst way to blow through money these days. You know what I'm saying? That video, because the videos don't make the money, you better off spending $250, $500 on the video. And I hate to say that for all the video directors out there. They like, damn, Nick killing our business.
I mean, it's just the truth.
It's the reality.
We're in a volume game. You're gonna have to shoot $10, $500 videos now, as opposed to one $5,000 video or one $50,000 video. That's not the game no more. Our artists ask for it all the time, and we like. And I oblige some of our OG artists, some of our bigger names, bigger in stature and name and recognition. I've okayed it and got burnt every time. As a product manager, where like my job wasn't necessarily on the line, but they were looking at me like, but
you let that happen.
Yeah. You let that happen, Nick. You okayed that.
You okayed that budget
and
for that.
Said,
it didn't track.
But I mean, it was him or it was her, and they say, yeah, we understand you were trying to do something to kind of keep him happy and keep him from wilding, but
where the dough at?
We looking at this balance sheet.
Yeah, where the dough at?
Yeah, and the $10,000 video only made us $75 on YouTube, and now I'm like having to do that,
weigh that out.
So I look crazy.
I mean, it's checks and balances. It's an accounting game.
Yeah, but you're trying to explain that to an artist of why. So when they say, "Hey, man, all right, for real, the next one." That's the one.
That's the one.
And you're like, well, I kind of needed that last one to be the one because you spent $10,000 on that one. Yeah. So this next video got to be shot for $500. Now they bucking.
Yeah.
And it's like, well.
Now you have to explain the music business to them all over again.
Yeah, and.
They don't be receptive to that shit sometimes.
Nah, because somebody got to take the blame, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody has to be at fault when an artist doesn't work.
Correct.
Yep.
Correct.
Yep. Unfortunately.
Correct.
Right? Yeah. It's kind of like.
You that guy because you're in marketing, so you're the first person.
Well, somebody got to eat it, right? It's kind of like a relationship. It's like when a guy and a girl break up, or, we in 2023, when two people that are in a relationship break up, somebody has to be at fault. It can never be mutual, right?
Yeah.
We can never say, you know what, I wanted something different. They wanted something different. It didn't work.
You're like, nah, what was it?
Nah, one of y'all fucked up. And the artist is never going to eat it. So it's like, the label did it.
Mm-hmm.
The label is like, wait.
All the time.
Well, actually, it was Nick. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be like, well, hold on.
I okayed that video. I okayed that video for you.
Right. You know what I'm saying? I was, and I'm always in the trick bag. It's like, well, I was trying to make y'all happy, but I was trying to make him happy too. So I'm always caught in the middle of it, which I don't mind. I'm cool with it, but that is the game that we're in. So I'm very cognizant of it. So when I see artists that have transcended what it is and have performed their deals, their contracts, the estimates, the budgets, I clap for those guys. I don't knock anything the NBA YoungBoy does or any other artist similar to him. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is an achievement in itself, and it is not to be taken lightly. So, man.
You've been in the game, though, from the digital era and the physical era.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I said that backwards, from the physical era to the digital era. What do you think has been, I guess, the biggest change from the physical era of album sales to everything streaming?
Consumption, because you can't really tell what kind of fans you got.
Yeah.
So if when we analyze these tours that are getting canceled and the artists that are, when we look at those particular artists that everybody's been publicizing now, so and so had to cancel his show. I believe that the labels, the artists, all of them, everybody's looking at these numbers and saying he has 6 billion streams on Spotify. He should be able to do da 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 da. But what it takes there's no effort in streaming. You know what I'm saying? Like I can literally
just do and slide it off to the side, cut the volume down, and let it rotate.
Correct. Nothing. So you don't know for real
what your fan base in that neighborhood in that city looks like, really.
Absolutely. Not you don't have. You think you do because you got this number here, but
till the tickets go on sale.
Lie a little bit. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. When people had to go out to Best Buy and get in their car, go out, spend $10, purchase your CD, go home, unwrap it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a fan or somebody who's trying to be a fan.
Right.
So you kind of got a better idea of what that really is because it took effort to do all the things. When you have to go buy a concert ticket, that takes some effort now. Mm-hmm. So that same person that was just scrolling through, or the thing that, to me that's really killing everybody is, you play a song on YouTube or you play a song on one of the DSPs, it'll just flow into some other shit. Mm-hmm. So sometimes it's great, right? For discovery, you land on something you like, man, what is this? Now you've stumbled onto something you like, but other times it's just some shit you just letting play. You don't really like that, but that's picked up as a stream. So now this person thinks, oh, I got a fan in Atlanta.
You just need to play it for 30 seconds.
I was washing dishes.
Right.
You might, nigga, I don't like your song. I was busy.
My hands was wet. I just couldn't get to the phone.
No, seriously.
Change it.
No, seriously. For most of these platforms, once it hits 30 seconds, it's an official stream. Yeah. And so you're right. I be doing something. I be cooking sometimes.
I'm killing down in Atlanta.
I be cooking sometimes, and I'll be making stuff, and then it'll be streaming. It'll be a song I don't want to, but I can't get to it past that 30 seconds. So now they officially, in their mind, got a new fan. I think when you said, I realized how much it changed when you were like gold is a hit and you bought up streams and bought up 750 million streams is what equates to gold now, because it's not the sale anymore, it's the stream.
It's the stream, and everybody hates that number because they're like, man, 750 million streams. I said, yo, but actually to me that's not a great gauge because it's hard to get to 750 million streams. You can fuck around and luck up into a million. You can kind of fuck around and get 500,000 streams on kind of a fluke. Maybe even 1 million, maybe 2 million. You know what I'm saying? But 750 million is a lot of fucking streams. So that means somebody really they purposely are going out to play a record. So I feel like as much as that feels like a lofty goal, that is saying something when you've amassed that kind of number. And if you notice, there are some artists like NBA YoungBoy. I've seen NBA YoungBoy on Instagram one time unwrapping about 40 plaques. And I'm like, good God, I haven't heard any of these songs. You got 40 gold and platinum. I haven't heard one of these songs. Or I've heard them and it was like, yeah, I don't ever want to hear this shit again. You know what I'm saying? But somebody fucking with it.
Well, you just said you're the man going back and forth trying to appease both sides. Mm-hmm. Where's the balance in the music game with that between, the quality music and still achieving that gold status of 750 million streams? Or who do you think is somebody that qualifies, that fits both of the metrics? It's like, well, that motherfucker's doing quality, but the numbers are there too.
Man.
Right.
I mean, from my personal taste,
yeah.
I'm a Travis Scott fan.
Okay.
Me too.
I'm a Drake fan. And I'm gonna tell you how I became a Travis Scott fan. I went to a show for free. My homeboy was working at Epic at the time. He's like, yo, I'm going to the Travis Scott show. He's like, you want to roll? I got some tickets. I'm like, whatever. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just kind of went on a fluke. I knew maybe 2 Travis Scott songs at the time.
It's around rodeo time.
Yeah, this rodeo going into Astroworld.
Oh, okay.
And I go to the show and I'm like, oh my God, Travis Scott is the greatest shit I've ever seen in my life. Like, I really left that show and deep dived into every Travis Scott album because the show was there.
Yeah.
And the songs was good. Like I said, it wasn't like I didn't like the songs. I just didn't know the songs going in. And Travis was the last artist that I was like, okay. So to me, he's putting out, and people are debating on how good this last album is. I like the album personally, but I think Travis is an absolute superstar, and the numbers justify, and they tell you what he is. Mm-hmm. Those numbers are accurate to me. Uzi, I don't love, but
Ditto.
I think he's a star. I do think he's a star.
No, I agree with you on both accounts.
I've seen Uzi walk in the room. I've seen Uzi come to a show, and there's like, That's a star.
He's a big deal. Yep.
I like Uzi.
Nothing bad to say about that. I don't ride around listening to Uzi.
Right.
But I'm
correct.
As a marketing guy, I can look at it and say, yeah, Uzi the one.
Yep.
You know,
he pops.
Yeah, for sure. I haven't seen a lot of NBA YoungBoy performances, even on YouTube, and I don't see him kind of doing. I don't see him at festivals. I don't see him in club shows. Probably because he's always in some jam or some level of trouble, so he can't really move. So I still don't understand his appeal altogether. J. Cole, superstar. 21 Savage, superstar. 21 Savage, a star. The numbers tell you that he's a star, and there are some songs that you definitely probably fuck with.
We feel like when he's with Metro, it's different.
Yeah, he's different.
It's different with Metro. And so I hear you on the star thing, but it's like, how many of those records are the Metro records?
I'm with you.
Okay.
However,
just asking questions.
21 is actually an artist that I probably wouldn't like just based on delivery, right? He's very monotone. It's kind of like, okay. But he has the it.
He does.
He has the it.
He
when
does.
we talk about intangibles, the words you used earlier. 21 has those intangibles.
He does.
There are other artists who do something similar to what he does.
And it doesn't connect.
It doesn't connect the same way. It doesn't get the same response. So I know that there's something there. When he's with Drake, he steps his game up, for sure. When he's with Cole, he steps his game. You know what I'm saying? Like he's...
So he rises to the occasion.
Yeah, he rises every time. And he's been on a tear the last 2 years.
He takes his writing serious. Yeah, you could tell.
Yeah, so I think that he has the thing... He has the it that the artists that we love have. I think the packaging is what maybe throws maybe an older generation off because we like, it don't feel like Jay or Tip.
It's not all the way there. It's not all the way there.
It's not as polished and shiny as what you would like it to be per se, but it's there. It's there without a doubt.
I know we're gonna wrap up in a second, but it's
we've
funny
been
you
holding
said
y'all up for a while.
No,
never.
Yeah. Now we
and you know your shit too.
But
I don't agree with the 101 versus trap music thing, but other than that,
we can't end on that.
101 smoking trap.
No. Trap music has the bigger records. How can you say that?
Oh, we'll get to that.
What? Rubber Band Man? That's terrible.
Rubber Band Man. Dope Boys. Be Easy. You hate Rubber Band Man. You hate the David Banner record. Oh,
hate that record. That's probably my least favorite record.
We could go record for record on that album before we leave out of here.
If y'all want me to come back and we do just TM1 versus trap music,
yes,
and we have a whole episode on that,
I would love to do
that.
I know one of the first times
Tip's on TM101. He's on Bang with Scrappy.
Yeah,
it's true.
I know one of the moments when I felt out of touch. I went to this Childish Gambino concert in like 2014, right? And it was a cool show. You know what I'm saying? Me and some friends from Miami. But anyway, the actual DJ who was opening was Chance the Rapper's DJ. Okay. He was playing nothing but Chance the Rapper stuff and all that stuff that you was talking about. Like everybody in the audience knew all of this stuff.
Right.
I didn't know any of it. I felt so like, damn, am I really that out of the loop? Because I thought the shit was whack.
Right.
But everybody out there loved it. I mean, can you explain like the buzz of somebody like a Chance the Rapper who was independent, him specifically, and why didn't that sustain in the way that, maybe Currency or, Crit and those guys did? Because he had a real big buzz.
I think somebody like Chance is more a couple things. One, he had the falling out with his management. And I think management plays a huge role in what you see. I think we've watched artists like Britney Spears, even Jeezy in certain ways. You can always kind of tell when there's a management change because early management especially understands their artists' flaws and like what the things are that they kind of need to cover up. And when that person moves out the way,
that's those intangible things again
leaking out, whether it's behavior, whether it's whatever it is, and you start to be like, oh, gotcha. The other guy was keeping these things under wrap, and now the new team didn't know these things. Because I've experienced that. I've had artists that I work with that people were like, oh my God, this artist is amazing. Why hasn't this artist popped? It must be Nick. Nick must be the thing that's stopping the thing from moving. And they're like, y'all have no idea.
But go ahead.
And then they take it on, and then they're like, oh, gotcha. He's crazy. Or she's whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I'm like, yeah, I knew that. I just let y'all hear these records that y'all thought were amazing. I kept under wraps the other part. But the management fallout with Chance, I think output, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't just pumping out material at one point, but the material he was pumping out was solid. I think there is merit to the whole listen to the kids, it's a young man's game. I think there's merit in that argument. However, what makes someone, to me, a star is a star is a star. I think, I don't care how old we are, 40, 50, 75. We know a star when we see it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care what the kid, what it sounds like.
Right.
When a star walks in the room,
you know.
You're like, I mean, put it like this. Have you ever been at the mall or at a restaurant or something and somebody walks in and you're like, I don't know who that is, but
they got it.
Something.
They got it, yeah. The glow difference. It's like showing up for some shit.
They might not even be nobody. They just kind of got the glow that night.
Right.
And you're like, yo, who's that? And the waiter is like, I don't know. I don't know. Just some girl, some guy. But it just, we know that. That glow don't go away. And that glow translates to 18-year-olds to 75-year-olds. So I don't think anybody who's 40 years old, 50 years old, whatever, when we say, I don't see it, I don't think we're tripping.
Right.
I don't think we're just so old, we just can't see what it is. Like, no, we know.
I remember when Thug had Danny Glove out. Mm-hmm. I was on the fence with the song, but I knew that he had something. And, even if you don't get it, you get it. You know what I'm saying?
Stars translate. I don't, like I said, what's the kid from Disney? What's the white kid that everybody used to love from, like, High School Musical? The white boy, he was a good-looking white kid. Zac Efron.
Okay.
Wow. Zac Efron is a star.
Yeah.
Especially back then. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could see that as an adult. When my kids are watching High School Musical, I'm like, that kid right there, he's a star. I don't need to be 15 to understand that Zac Efron is a thing. I don't need to be 55 to understand that Brad Pitt, George Clooney is a thing. These things, your daughter can understand that George Clooney is a thing. She can look at him, see the movies, and be like, yeah, I can see why I get it. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I understand why Denzel Washington is a thing. I don't care if I'm 18 or 88. Denzel Washington is a clear-cut star.
He's got it.
He just got it. And I just wish that we didn't just, and especially in the music business, just didn't dismiss things as, oh, you just don't get it because you're old.
Yeah.
It's like, no, nigga, that shit whack.
Well, you know what I thought about when you talked about there needed to be an old head in the room? I thought about, Mike and I have Prince and Michael Jackson conversations. Prince is my favorite artist. Like? Prince. I'm a Prince guy. He's a Michael Jackson guy. But I think about Thriller when you said all that, and I'm thinking like, man, them is old dudes in the room with Mike. That's Quincy, Rod Temperton, all those other guys. It's like Mike's the star, and he's the genius, but he's with the G's on Thriller and Off the Wall. And when he gets to Teddy Riley and he modernizes it a little bit, well, the quality and the sales, it happened. So there is something that you're saying about having.
Yeah.
I think you need all of it. You need the 18-year-old in the room that can tell you like, yo, this is what we own. This is how we dressing. This is how we talking. This is the lingo. And you need the old guy in the room to say, hey, but this is how we get from point A to point to Z. You know what I'm saying?
The older guys can get you those fundamentals you need.
Right. And I think that there's a need for all of it. I think you can't fill up a room full of kids and expect wisdom. And you can't fill up a room full of old people and expect hip,
fresh,
trendy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was making a joke online the other day, and I'm like, yo, all these girls who was trying to get their man to like wear the clothes slim and get back slim. Now the kids are wearing back baggy. Yeah. And it's like, damn, he just caught on, and now it done flipped again. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need somebody in the room to be like, yeah, no, we back doing the baggy thing. We not wearing skinny jeans this week. Yeah. We back.
They wearing baggy hoodies now.
All of that.
Yeah.
It's all bad.
But you need a kid in the room to know.
Yeah. Right. Or you got to have one. I only know because I got one.
But you need a 45-year-old in the room to say, yo, but all right, cool. But this is how we're going to make this record go from here to here. That's what Quincy did. That's what Puff did. That's what the guys that we admire, that's what they came in the room. LA, these guys, Babyface, they were hit makers. They knew a hit. They knew how to identify it. They knew how to get you from, this is good, let's make it great. And I don't know that you can get that from an 18-year-old.
Yep, don't have the experience.
Yeah,
you just don't have the experience.
Yeah.
An 18-year-old will tell you that. At least they will 10 years later. Like, damn, why'd you listen to me when I was 18? I didn't know what I was talking about.
I was at the YouTube, I was at a YouTube event, this was Thursday. And I had a guy who had hit me online. He asked me, he wanted to meet. He wanted to kind of work together. I gave him my prices. Two, I told him, like, hey, fuck the price. Let's just have a real conversation. And we talked, and he was like, I ain't gonna do that shit. He came to me at the YouTube shit and was like, hey, man, I just want to talk to you. He said, I just want to let you know at the time that we was talking, my head was in a different place. I thought I knew some shit. I just want to get back with you. Can we link up? You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. And not on some like, he was trying to apologize because it was nothing that he did wrong, but a couple of years made him realize, hey, I was tripping. I thought I knew more than I knew. And now I need to kind of come back and re-rap with you. And I think that's what, they say youth is wasted on the young.
It's one of those things.
It's one of those things, man.
So,
it is what it is.
So I know we got to get out of here soon. Mike and I are both in agreement. Mike and I are both in agreement that Aquemini is the best rap album to ever come out of the city. Correct?
Oh,
what's on Aquemini? What's the records on Aquemini?
Rosa Parks.
Rosa Parks, Skewed on the Barbie.
Spody on that?
Spody Odie. No, that's Thank On You.
Actually, we got a little roadmap for you right here. Yeah. See that?
Art of Storytelling. Y'all Scared. Chunky Fire. Liberation.
Okay, never mind. Liberation. Liberation trump all that.
Right.
That's the best. Yeah.
So
Liberation is the best song to come out of the city.
Okay.
Actually,
the song.
I believe what you know by T.I. is, but
no. Actually, the best song to ever come out of the city is Nas Barkley Crazy, a CeeLo record.
You know what?
Okay.
You might be surprised. We've never been asked this. I think Cell Therapy might be the best song to ever come out of the city.
My personal favorite, but in terms of success.
Oh, it's talking about in
terms of commercial
viability,
songwriting and all that.
Over Hey Ya.
Yeah, it's a better song than Hey Ya. It's a better song than Hey Ya.
Crazy is a better song than Hey Ya.
Is it bigger?
Is it bigger? No, I think actually, you know what?
It might be.
One of the biggest songs to come out of this city actually isn't even. It's Hey Ya is definitely one of them. But did y'all know? I think it's a Yin Yang song.
The Whisper. The Whisper song
Low
or Get Low?
Get Low might want to be like one of the biggest records to come out of the city, like in terms of like
it probably is.
Success.
You want to know what? That's one of those songs that I feel like for its era,
Salt Shaker, one of them.
For its era, Get Low, like down here in the city and in the club, was the biggest thing, and it wasn't even a question.
Yeah, Yin Yang gets overlooked. Yeah, for sure.
So Mike and I argue all the time. I feel like the second best album to come out the city might be Southern Playalistic. He says Soul Food. What say you?
The second best album to come out of this city.
Yeah, we go Aquemini, we agree, but then we diverge with Soul Food and Southern Playalistic. I'm a Southern Playalistic guy.
Okay. Well, let me say this. I like Still Standing more than I like Soul Food.
Okay. Why? Because there's no self-therapy or thought process on Still Standing to me.
Yeah, but there's a nigga experience.
Yeah.
There's a CeeLo's hip-hop quotable that he got, the quotable of the month in the Source.
I know what you're talking about.
I woke up this morning with the same frustration situation. Like
I remember that. I remember that. That's like
life changing stuff.
That's like track 12 or 13 on
Black Ice is on there too.
Black Ice.
The Damn is on there too.
Like
I love the Damn.
Thought process is better than Black Ice to me, but
I think
is it?
I think that's
CeeLo and Dre on there is crazy.
Still Standing is just so good to me. Like I might leave here and go listen to that album and be completely happy the rest of the evening.
Okay.
I love that
Fly
album.
Away.
Fly Away, all of that on there.
I like
Beautiful
the Damn
Skin.
Too.
Oh yeah, Beautiful.
There's a lot going on that album, but I'm not mad at those. I think ATLNs is probably my favorite Outkast album.
Really? Oh. Why?
But Liberation is so good that it's hard to just not include Aquemini. Aquemini wins because of Liberation.
It's a transcendent moment. Yeah.
It is. It's an X Factor record.
It is.
Yeah,
it's a special record.
Yeah,
we used to play that in the dorm room before church, so it was like one of those things. That was the first rap song that we would play that like
Liberation to make you cry on the right day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you'll shed a tear listening to Liberation. Like, wow, like this is a moment, an audio moment, and you'll be in your car just like. Many times.
So I tell Mike, I tell Mike that is the record where it's like, no, that album's different because that song is there. It transcends some things hip hop wise, in my opinion, because it still feels like hip hop, even though nobody's actually rapping on that shit.
Yeah,
and they do that a lot though.
Yeah, Spody Odie too.
Baghdad, Spody Odie, they do that a lot when
Funky Ride.
There are records that they've made, and you're like, I don't know if that's hip hop.
You keep mentioning Bonds Over Baghdad. Do you think that's their best record?
I don't think it's not my personal favorite record, but I think that's a record that there are 80,000 things going on in that song, and you're just like, I don't know why I like this song, but it feels like a rock record. It feels like a pop record. It feels like a rap record. It feels like it's some level of EDM. There's a lot going. There's a church choir.
That's
Andre's choir.
Like there's a lot going on, and you're like, I think I like this song, but I couldn't tell you why.
If somebody jumped down from outer space and they asked me who Outkast was, and I could play one song to describe this whole group, I think Bonds Over Baghdad is the one. It encompasses everything they are.
Yeah, that record makes 0 sense.
I think it's their best moment. I don't think it's their best song. I still think of them. I still think of like Crumbling Herb, Hootie Hoo.
You like that version of them?
I do. But that's the version of them that made it happen and gave them the flexibility to even do those things.
To me, those are records that are like, yo, those are great rap records. It's the other stuff that they do that makes
elevate
them the number one hip hop rap group of all time to me.
I think Bombs Over
the reason that they're over Wu-Tang, the reason that they're
I'm about to say, are they over Wu-Tang?
Mobb Deep, the reason they're over Tribe Called Quest, the reason that they're over any of these other rap groups is because of Liberation, Bombs Over Baghdad,
Funky Ride,
Spodioti. Like it's those.
It's
records
the versatility.
Sorry Miss Jackson,
13th Floor.
Yeah, those records, Elevators.
Rosa
they do
Parks,
things like that.
Elevators is special.
Yeah, those other guys couldn't do that. I think all those groups that we named could do Crumbling Herb. They could do some version of Southern Playlisted. They could do some version of like when they're just rapping. Mm-hmm. It's the other records. I'm like, yeah, they could never do that.
Okay, so Mike and I have a conversation that those records actually hurt them in hip hop conversations, though. What do you say to that? Like in terms
where?
Like in terms of aesthetically, how it hits for somebody that is more geared towards a traditional hip hop ear listener. Like we get with it, we from the A. Like so for us, it's home.
Mm-hmm. Maybe, but I think the reason that Kendrick can do some of what he does, I think the reason Drake absolutely can do a lot of what he does is because Outkast did it.
Okay. I agree.
So when Drake sings half an album, it's like we've seen it before.
Yep.
We saw it when Dre did it. You know what I'm saying? Like there's these records where we allowed Outkast to do some things that were experimental. Mm-hmm. So when Drake comes along and he does something that's a little off he does I better find your love. That's not a hip hop record, but some kind of way we allowed that to be his first single.
Yep.
On an album. You know what I'm saying? Like
it's a vibe.
He should be thanking them for for us being like, okay, we'll allow it.
Well, when we come back next time, we definitely gonna do this Thug Motivation 101, and we're gonna do this trap music thing. Is there anything you want to lead the people with? I mean, we talked about a lot.
No, you know what? Let me see. What do I want to lead the people with? Follow me if you haven't followed me anywhere before. I'm at NickLove ATL on everything. I think. Oh, I want to tell everybody this. I think Southern Soul music is the next big genre of music to come out.
Okay.
I think for a lot of people that are like in like country towns or like deep south, they already tapped into that whole sound. But I think that's gonna become like the thing soon.
Right.
And I believe that because I'm watching as streaming numbers and sales and all of this stuff, the propaganda around it of rap music is doing this. And everybody's all of a sudden like, I want to hear love songs and I want to hear real music and, all that type of stuff. I think Southern Soul fills that gap. And I haven't heard anybody say this, so like I'm first here. So when it works,
you hear it here first.
And your favorite artist becomes King George, or like, you know what I'm saying, one of these Southern Soul, Tucker, or one of these Southern Soul guys, I'm say NickLove said, what is this, August of 2023, NickLove said Southern Soul was going to be the shit. So I'm telling all you rappers, hey, y'all better jump on one of these Southern Soul songs, throw a verse on this shit, because that shit finna go.
Okay.
And I think in the next 2 or 3 years, that type of music that has been relegated to like, like it won't be in Atlanta, it'll be in Augusta and Columbus and Macon.
It's gonna make
the
its
city
way
gonna
here.
pick it up. All it's gonna take is one of these girls, Ari, Jada, one of these, one of these girls to do a TikTok dance or something to one of these songs.
An explosion.
Everybody gonna say, "What's that?"
Yep.
And that shit gonna go. So I want to be the first to ever say that on camera. And shouts out to all the girl dads. You know what I'm saying? Shouts out to y'all.
I am
it's
one.
It's
a tough job.
It is a tough job.
My daughter got her first
I'll
boyfriend.
leave y'all with that, man.
Yeah.
What?
All right, well, let's cheers it out and appreciate
Cheers.
you coming through.
Thank y'all. I'll come back anytime. I had a great conversation.
Sir. And, all day.
Appreciate y'all.
A2HH interviews, and we are out.
That was fun.
That was dope.